Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel Easy Sewing with Ty. Today we'll be cutting and sewing this stylish drawstring bubu or kaftan dress with brocade and organdi fabric. I did not have enough fabric to make the exact style inspiration neckline, so I altered it and just went with a V-shaped neckline in place of the collared neckline that you can see in the style inspiration. Now to all my returning subscribers and viewers, thank you for always coming back and engaging on my videos. I appreciate you so much. If today is your first time here, my name is Taiwo and you're welcome. It's great to have you here. Be sure to watch to the end and don't forget to subscribe if you're yet to. Give this video a thumbs up, share. You can also leave your comments, questions in the comments below. Also, kindly watch the ads on my video as it pops up. Please don't skip the ads, alright? Thank you. Now let's get started. Here is the main fabric that I'll be working with today, the brocade fabric, and I've gone ahead to fold it into four. This fabric is 2 yards and 10 inches, and a yard is 35 inches. So 35 plus 35, that's 70, plus 10, that's 80. In total, we have 80 inches. So I folded it into four. So it means on fold that way I have 20 inches. And of course, I'm going to exhaust the full length of the fabric. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll just come down by 1 inch as my start point, because as you can see, that edge is fraying. So I do not want anything to affect my measurements. So I'll be coming down by 1 inch. Now I am making use of a marker because I discovered that the chalk was not showing. I am not advising or recommending this. I am only doing this for tutorial purpose and because this is my fabric. All right, now this marked line is representing the shoulder. That is where I'm going to start taking all of my measurement from. The first vertical measurement I'll be imputing there is the chest line, but because this is a bubu, I'm making use of 12, so I'm not working with a fitted chest line here. That's why I'm not doing the usual calculation. Then I'll go ahead and impute the half length where I'll be putting my waist measurement. Afterwards, I'll go ahead and impute the hip line. The half length that I'm working with is 16.5 and the hip line that I'm working with is 26 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and mark out the 12, the 16 and a half, and the 26 inches line like this. Fortunately, the marker was not as visible as I thought it would be, but you would get it by the time I connect it all together. Now on that chest line, which is on that 12 inches line, I imputed the bust measurement divided by 4. For example, the bust measurement is 40. 40 divided by 4 is 10. Then I added 3 inches for ease and 1 inch sewing allowance. You can use 3 inches or more depending on how big you want the bubu to be. Then on the waistline, I just subtracted what I have on the bust by 2 and I imputed it on the waistline. Now you can go ahead and impute your waist measurement and add the same 3 inches for ease and 1 inch sewing allowance. You do the same thing on the hip line, and whatever you have on the hip line, just make sure that you replicate it all the way to the hem. Now you can even go ahead and use the biggest measurement, which is the hip line, all the way. That is if you do not want the waistline to be defined. You just want it straight from the bust all the way to the hem. You can have it that way too. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I would make the waistline a bit defined like this. Now the combination of my shoulder measurements plus the sleeve length plus the folding allowance is 19 inches, and that is what I marked there. Remember that I have 20 inches in total, but I'm actually working with 19 inches. All right, then you want to determine how wide you want the sleeve opening to be. Here I want it to be 20 inches wide. Now 20 divided by 2 is 10, but I'll be adding 1 inch allowance for joining, that is 11. Then I just connected it all the way to the bust measurement like this. All right, I will be adding half inch at that upper part for the shoulder joining. Okay, so you do not want to forget that. For the neck dimension, I'm working with 3.5 by 2. For the back, it is a U-shaped neckline, while for the front, I am working with 3.5 by 6.5. It's a V-shaped neckline. Feel free to replicate the same neckline or choose your most preferred neckline. but this is what I worked with. After which I'll come up by ½ inch at the neck area that way, and then connect it all the way to the shoulder line. This way I've incorporated the ½ inch shoulder joining allowance, and I've also done the shoulder slope. Alright, and now it's time to cut it out. Now I'll separate the front from the back and cut out the front neckline. Now it's time to head over to the sewing machine to couple this together before attaching the organdy. First step is to turn the neckline, the front neckline in this case, using the facing or bias or anything of choice. In this case, I'm working with a facing and it's easy to cut. Just trace out the neckline and then trace out the outer part of the facing. You can make it the same shape as the neckline like I did in this case. So I'll be placing the right side of the facing, I'll be placing it on the right side of the fabric. Then I will just go ahead and sew off the neckline using ½ inch. After which I'll go ahead and notch it, especially at that center. It is very important for it to lay properly. Then I'll go ahead and top stitch on the facing. Now this is what we have. You want to go ahead and give this a very good press. You also want to attach an hem gum in between the facing and the fabric so that the neckline can lay flat properly. Then you want to stitch it down here. Here is the back. I've gone ahead to repeat the same process I did for the front. I cut out the facing, I fixed it, I notched, top stitch, and all of that. The only thing left is to iron it and iron an hem gum in between the facing and the fabric. Moving on, I'll go ahead and join the front and the back together at the shoulder using the French seam method, which is to join it together at the right side of the fabric first using ½ inch before turning it over to the wrong side and joining it. This would ensure that I have a very neat finish and I do not have to weave. Alright, but if you do not want to do this, just place the right side of the front on the right side of the back and sew it together at the wrong side. Alright, but then you would have to weave yours. You can see the way this is neat and the edges is not visible at all. Yes, this is why I use the French seam finish. After which I'll go ahead and hem the sleeve opening. That sleeve opening that I'm touching right now, I'm just going to go ahead and fold it neatly, then sew it all the way from one end to the other end on the two sides. Now to cut out the organdy fabric, you need to know how wide each organdy fabric is going to be at each side. Already you know the length because the length is going to be the dress length. Now to know the width, to do that, first of all, you want to determine how wide that brocade opening at the center, how wide you want it to be. I will advise that you work with your bust span measurement or you add one, maximum 2 inches to your bust span measurement. For example, if your bust span measurement is 7, you can work with 7, you can work with 8, you can work with 9. So now I have excluded my bust span measurement. What I have left on one side is 14 inches, meaning that the maximum width of the organdy fabric is 14 inches. Now you can make it lesser. You can work with 10, 11, depending on how ruched you want it to be at the shoulder. Alright, but if you make it more than 14 inches, then it will be too much. Okay, now you cannot just go ahead and cut out the 14 inches. One, you need to add folding allowance, and then you need to add the allowance that you use to sew this organdy onto the fabric. Alright, so that is 3 inches allowance. So 14 plus 3 inches, I have 17. Now I have 2 yards of this organdy fabric and I went out to cut out 17 inches by 60. 60 is the gown length that I'm working with. I went out to cut out 4 of it. Alright, you know I would need 2 on both sides at the front and I will need 2 of it on both sides at the back. Moving on to the sewing. To sew it, you want to take 2 of the 4 organdy that was cut out, 2 of it, then join it together using 1 inch. Alright, you need as much as 1 inch to join it together because we are going to use that sewing allowance to create a casing for the rope to get that ruched effect. All right, so you need at least 1 inch to join it. But take note, do not sew it all the way to the end. I made that mistake and I had to lose it. Rather, stop midway and fold the sides, or you can even do this before joining it together at all. Remember, I added 2 inches for the folding, so I'm going to fold it in once with 1 inch, then I'm going to fold it the second time again with another 1 inch, making the total of 2 inches that I added for the folding allowance. So I'm going to go ahead and fold the rest off camera and show you what I have. Now this is what I have. I'm done folding it at the edge all the way. Then I'm just going to go ahead and complete the sewing like this using the 1 inch. This is what we have so far. The next thing to do is to create the casing for the rope and pass in the rope. So the remaining fabric that I have left after removing the 17 inches by the length of the dress that I have, I used it to make a tiny rope that you can see currently. What I have there is the selvage area. I will then go ahead and stitch it down. But if what you have is not the selvage area, this is why I said you should use at least 1 inch. You want to go ahead and fold it. All right, just create enough casing that is wide enough to fit in the rope. That is why it is not advisable for your rope to be too wide, at least half or less than ½ inch wide. All right, well, because mine is the selvage area of the fabric, okay, so I'm just going to stitch it down, just creating a space that is wide enough for that rope to fit. I hope you understand. After creating the casing, this is what you want to have. Then I went ahead to pass in the rope using this pin. I passed the rope through the two casing that was created, then I stitch it down at the edge that way so that the rope doesn't fall off while making the drawstring or the ruched effect. I've gone ahead to attach the organdy to one side of the bubu dress. Now it's time to attach it to the second side. You can see I've already chalked out the wideness that I want that center to be. In my case, I'm working with my bust span measurement +2. So make sure that the joining on the organdy, it matches up with the shoulder area on the bubu dress. Then you just want to go ahead and start placing it. Like I said, I'll be using 1 inch to attach mine, and that was what I did. I attached the organdy to the bubu dress using 1 inch. You can work with ½ inch, but this is what I choose to work with. Now for the hem, you can decide to hem both the bubu dress and the organdy together, that is the brocade fabric and the organdy fabric together. You can decide to hem it separately like this. Either ways is fine. All right, if you are hemming it separately like this, just fold it when you're about to get to the hem and proceed to fold the organdy and sew it off separately. Now this is what I have. I repeated the same process for the back. This is the reason why you're not supposed to join it at the side yet, for easy fixing of this organdy. The next thing to do now is to join the front and the back together at the sides. Now off camera, I've gone ahead to attach my pocket. If you would like to attach your pocket, you want to go ahead and do this before getting to this stage. If you do not know how to attach pocket to bubu dresses like this, then the link to my previous tutorial where I made a bubu dress and I attached the pocket and I showed the process from start to finish, the link would be showing on the screen currently. So you want to check that tutorial out and see how to fix your pocket. All right, but if you know how to fix your pocket before now, then just proceed to join it together at the side. Now I am joining it with 1 inch from that sleeve opening all the way to the end. And also you can decide to stop sewing like 10 to or 12 inches before the end for easy movement while working. All right, the tassel for me was an afterthought, but if you want it in yours, just make sure that you fix it while turning the neckline with the facing. And that will be all for today. Now, did you gain value? Did you learn something new? Did you enjoy the tutorial? If the answer to all of this is yes, then kindly let me know in the comment below. Hit the like button, also share. Okay, you don't want to enjoy all of this alone, and subscribe if you are yet to. You can also follow me on other social media platforms. It's Easy Sewing with Tyke. Till I see you in my next tutorial. Bye.